Okay, so we did get a new four-wheeler. As you saw by the picture, the thumbnail and the title, it is a 1999 Polaris Explorer 300 4x4. So it's technically in our shed right now, and there is a reason for this. I'm doing a little bit of work to it. It doesn't have like a lot of problems, but it does have a couple of things I'm still working on. So let's start with how we got it. We were looking for one, and the lighting's probably going to be pretty bad, but I do have the flashlight on my phone. But we were looking for a four-wheeler, and this was $1,500, which wasn't too bad. And the only reason it's tore apart right now is partly just because I wanted to. But anyway, we went and looked at it. It was a pretty good deal, so we got it. Like I said, it is a 300cc air-cooled two-stroke. It's carbureted. It had an oil injector, and the oil container sat there, but it blew up the original top end, so the guy he bypassed that, and then we just mix it and put it in the carburetor, in the gas tank, and then it just goes through the carburetor. It does run. I'll probably throw in a clip of it running right now. Let's see, come on. Gotta remember to brace for this. Okay, so that was actually an older clip, but it is a clip of it running. And that was a cold start as well, I do remember that much. But anyway, it runs from a 300cc engine to a CVT transmission. If you don't know how it works, then look up another video, because I don't feel like going into too much detail. And there's been a ton of videos made, so I don't see the point in it. But basically, this spins with the motor. And then this one, as the motor spins fast, it will shrink, grabbing the belt and also expanding its size up to about here. And then this one, as it spins, will actually shrink down to, I don't know, that big. But that one expands, that one shrinks as it goes. As more load is put on it, they will actually reverse. This one will shrink back down, this one will grow back bigger, and then as you get less load on it and you can go, it'll readjust, and that's how that works. Alright. Then it's ran through technically a gearbox. The gearbox has, I wish my phone would focus. It's really not even that bad, except for when my phone doesn't focus and then it's all blurry. But it has high, neutral, low, reverse. So reverse, high, neutral, low, or high, neutral, low, or high, low, neutral, reverse. Anyway, it's got high, low, neutral, and reverse. Now, this was one of the original problems. When we went to look at it, I got up on there, went into high kind of easily, and then I went into reverse kind of easily, but it was hard to get this thing going high. And the plastics, when I've got them on here, come around here like this. Alright, well, I noticed whenever I'd push down to get it going low, it would hit the plastics. So it turns out the shifter box right here was actually loose. There's two bolts, one's right there and then the other one's on the back side. So I tightened those up, and then it would go into low, perfect, no problems. It would go into reverse okay, but it wouldn't go into high, which I thought was weird. It would take, you'd have to idle it down way low, and then it'd take forever to get it going gear, and it just wouldn't work, and it was making like a grinding sound and all this, that, and the other. Well, if you look right here, again, my stupid phone won't focus. Well, it's kind of focused. Alright, so this right here is the shifting linkage. So if I shift it from high, or from neutral to high, and then from neutral to reverse, you can see it uses the same shift fork. So I noticed that it felt like it was going past reverse, if that makes any sense. Now it doesn't. And it felt like it wasn't going far enough for high. So what I did was I gotta swap hands. If you take this nut here, loosen it, there's one on the other end. You can twist this rod, and by doing that you can either lengthen the rod or shorten the rod. I lengthened the rod not by a lot, and now it goes perfectly into high, goes perfectly into reverse. And then of course the other one's low. Low gear is a good low gear. High goes pretty fast. I'm gonna say probably about 40. I haven't like completely maxed out the engine because I was still making sure that everything was working good. But anyway, that's kind of how that works. Then it comes out right here. It comes out. There's a disc brake here. This is controlled by foot brake. That water is actually from me cleaning it. This does have full plastic floorboards, which I'll show you, but the foot brake operates that, so I'm a little shaky. This brake does not work. The foot brake does not work. I'm pretty sure I can fix it though. But this is also operated by the handlebar brake right there. You cannot see it, can you? So this is also operated by the handlebar brake. I can pull this back, and that's actually the brake lock. Glad I took that off, actually. Oop, I just spilled it. Alright. Anyway, so from here, this chain goes down to the rear, which is loose. I know, I need to tighten it. It goes down to the rear. It's a rear swing arm. It actually rides pretty good considering. Bearings seem to be good. I did put some grease in them. I was actually trying to get this tire off, and this tire does not want to come off. So I gotta fix that, but not too worried. This shock is missing a bushing down there, so I do definitely need to put a bushing in there. That's not too big a deal. It didn't hurt it or nothing, so I feel like I can just put a bushing in there and we'll be alright. Let's see. Then it comes up from right here. This is the transmission. Then it comes up from right here. It goes to a jack shaft, and then it comes out of the jack shaft, out of that side, runs up to this sprocket, and then from this sprocket it goes to these two axles. Now these two axles are always engaged. Alright, so then it runs down. I don't know how well I'll be able to show you this. Let me move. And then it comes down from there and goes into these hubs. Now these are locking style hubs, so this tire is not engaged to that axle. Right now I can rotate the rear tires, and it will not rotate the front tires. I'm going to try and show you this. I don't know how easy this is going to be. Great. Alright, you can kind of see the axle. Oh great, hold on, I gotta do a little bit. Okay. So you can kind of see the axle there. Yeah, you can see it rotating, right? But the tire is not rotating. The tire is on the ground. Try and get you slightly closer up to you. Alright. Yeah, I think I dropped the bolts or something. Alright, so the way this four-wheel drive works is right here in this brake line is two wires. You can actually see them right there. Okay, yeah. So these two wires will run up to the top here. Ignore the big mess. But if I can find them, yeah, my phone does not want to focus right now. Alright, well that's one of the wires, that gray wire, sorry, that brown wire. There's a gray wire over here somewhere. Alright, right there, that brown and gray wire. Brown wire is ground. Gray wire is power in to the hubs. There's two of these sets of wires. Now the four-wheel drive switch, right here, the way it was originally wired was it ran down the gear position sensor. So whenever it was in high, it was in low, it would supply power to the switch. Well, you don't have reverse, or you don't have four-wheel drive in reverse, and also it wasn't working. So I cleaned the switch up, and then the bulb inside started working, and the switch does work. So what I did is I took, I think it was gray with white wire, and I ran it down to this set of wires right here. See this gray and white wire? Oh, gray, it's not focusing. Alright, this gray and white wire right here was power into the switch. So I ran it to here. This gets power when the key is on and the kill switch is on. If you turn the kill switch off or the key off, this won't get power. Alright, this of course runs into the switch. There's a brown wire, which is ground, coming out of the switch, and then there's a gray wire. You just take that gray wire and run it to the two small gray wires, and then when you supply power, when you turn the key on, supplying power to the switch, you push the button, these hubs will get power. I've done tested both hubs, they both work. I don't have the battery hooked up right now, and I think it's dead, which I'll get back to that in just a second. But I know they both work because when you rotate the rear tires, it goes very little and then it engages, and you can feel it engage. I've actually pulled it off of jack stands. I had the rear end up on a jack and got it started up, put it in reverse, 4-wheel drive, and it came right off the jack. And I tested it before I backed off to make sure the back tires were off the ground. Sadly I don't have a video of that. So that does work. But the 4-wheel drive was something that I need to fix because the key didn't work, and there actually were not battery terminals on either the positive or the negative ends. There's not a terminal, so I had to add those. And then the 4-wheel drive didn't work. Headlights did work, but I'm actually going to be wiring a light bar to this, a low beam. Yeah, my phone will not focus. Is there any way that I can autofocus it? Nope. Alright, there. My phone won't focus today. Anyway. Hold on, I'm gonna turn this off, see if I can get it to focus. There we go. See, it's focused now. I don't know what was up with that. Maybe it was just that recording. But anyway, you can see it has off, low, and high. And there it goes. Okay, now we're good. Alright, so I'm gonna rewire low to be high beam on the original headlights. Alright, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wire high beam to be a light bar. I'm going to have a video on that. Okay, so I'm also rewiring the tail lights. So the tail lights come on and off with the headlights. That'll probably be in the light bar video or in just another wiring video in general. Because I don't like how they just stay on. Brake light does not work, but I'm pretty sure I can fix that. It may just be the bulb really. So I'm pretty sure I can fix the brake light. I do have all the plastics. I have the back rack. I have a storage box. Here's back plastics. All that. So the main reason I pulled this off is just so I could get to all this. I wanted to get to the battery because the battery originally sat here, but I'm relocating it to the front. I wanted to clean up the frame real good. Alright. So now that I've done that, I'm relocating the battery up to here. The battery will sit here. Starter solenoid will sit here. I'm just going to reroute these two wires here. Power to the key and power to the starter solenoid. I'm just going to reroute those to the front. Hook those up, and then everything should work from the front here. I'm also going to put a winch on it. I almost forgot that. Solenoid box is going to sit there. Control will be here. So I'll make a video on that. I'm also going to do LED backup lights. So I'm mounting them to the back. And I'm actually going to wire it up into reverse. So put it in reverse, the lights come on. Put it back in neutral, lights go off. And if you ever need to, if you're ever working behind it and you need the lights, all you gotta do is just put it in reverse, leave the key on. But I'd recommend shutting it off, so that way it doesn't try and roll away. But all you gotta do is just shut it off, leave the key on, put it in reverse, the lights come on. Oh, the light ain't even on. Maybe that was why it wasn't focusing? Oh, that's why it wasn't focusing, was it? Oh, okay. Well, I'll turn the light back on until I get up close. But anyway, so really wasn't that bad. I fixed the brakes. This right here was broke. Fixed the brakes, fixed the 4-wheel drive, the battery terminal ends, fixed the shifter. One small, well, I say small problem, it does not want to rev up. So whenever it is running, and I know the video you saw did okay, but in the way that this is doing, not wanting to rev up, is whenever you put it in gear and go to take off, it wants to bog down. Now when it's not in gear, it does fine, but whenever it's in gear, it wants to bog down. It did this before. I cleaned the carburetor and gas tank and the exhaust out, and it ran fine for a while. And then I thought I might have overheated it, which I don't actually think I overheated it, but I thought I did. And it started doing it again. So what I'm thinking is there's trash in the carburetor, and it's not wanting to run properly. But the main jet won't allow enough fuel when it's under a load to keep it running, if that makes any sense. But I think I can fix that. I think it's just carburetor. I did adjust this electronic throttle thing, because this throttle's designed to not get stuck open. So the way this works, I'm going to turn the light off, hopefully you can somewhat see. Alright, so if I can manually open this. Alright, so I don't know if you can see this, but there's that metal plate on the left. Alright, well that metal plate is actually the throttle. On that throttle there's like a type of sensor, if that makes any sense. There's like a little piece of metal that gets pushed over if it's touching this. If it's not touching this, then it's not being pressed over, it's not active. So what this does is if you press in the throttle and the throttle gets stuck open, something like that, and you pull the throttle back, but the throttle cable doesn't come with it, then it will idle it down using the CDI. So that was loose, and that was part of the idle problem in that video that I showed. This is because this was loose. But I tightened it up just by adjusting the cable, and it idled much better. I replaced a couple of dry rotted hoses. I know this video is kind of a little bit everywhere, but my main upgrades are going to be a light bar, a winch, LED backup lights, speaker system, which that's part of it, came with it, and then there's speakers in the box. I'll show you the box in just a second. And then I'm going to extend the back rack using a rack off of our old four-wheeler, which was a 1995 Yamaha Timberwolf 250 two-wheel drive. It was a piece of junk. The other one was a Coolister Chinese ATV. It was a 125cc. Surprisingly, seemed to do better than the Yamaha, except for the fact it didn't have very much power, and then the starter chain broke on it. And I didn't feel like buying a starter chain because the carburetor was giving me trouble. And so we kept pushing it down the hill, but because the carburetor kept giving us trouble, it didn't always start, so we'd have to pull it back up the hill. And I got real tired of that real quick. This does have electric start, as you probably know. Start button, lights, kill switch, override for four-wheel drive or reverse. I don't know if it works. I think it does, but I don't know for sure. I haven't tested it yet. So I kind of really can't think of much. Like I said, I'm going to put the box back on the rack. You know, the lights and stuff. There'll be separate videos for all that kind of stuff. I will show you the plastics real quick. Also, those are the rear tires that were on it. I think those are 25s. Yeah, 25 by 11 by 10. The fronts are like 23 by 9, I think. Hold on, I'll try and show you. I don't see it. Oh, right there. 23 by 8 by 10. I don't know if you can see that. No. But either way. 23 by 8 by 10. So, did I really just pause the video? If I paused the video and you didn't get that, those are 23 by 8 by 10. If I did, then you just heard it again. Alright, there's the one plastic 300, and I think down there somewhere was 4x4. Right there, 4x4. Here's the front plastic. You can see the cap for the oil container. This is the storage container on the back. I'll probably keep it on there. Air box, all that. Did not have an air filter, but luckily there's no like trash dirt in there, so I think we got pretty lucky there. This is back plastics. I took them off to clean them because you can see how dirty they are. And also I was trying to get this metal bar here off of this back rack, so that way I could put the Yamaha rack on there, but it was kind of getting in the way and I couldn't get it off on the four-wheeler. Still got to mess with that. There's the floorboards on demand four-wheel drive. It's more like all-wheel drive when the rear tire starts spinning, the front kick in, but I just call it four-wheel drive. So these are the rear plastics. There's the tail light / brake light. So I'm only going to open one side of this box. Yeah, the other side's a little bit rough to get to. There's one speaker. Here was an aux cord port here that has a separate aux cord here, which apparently is Bluetooth. Didn't know that at the time, but it has an aux cord. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rewire this into the speaker, or into the front box, because that's kind of like an amp. And then I'm gonna run those to the speaker, and then there's a speaker for the other side. He just never cut the hole. You may or may not be able to see this. Yeah, you can see the speaker. So I'm gonna do all that. Like I said, this is kind of like an amp in it. I'm gonna run the wires, power wire from, this is the aux cord wire. I'm gonna run the power wire from this to a switch up here on the cluster thing. I'm also gonna rewire the oil light because I disconnected it because the oil container was useless and come on occasionally. When I first noticed it, I was like, what? But I'm going to rewire this so when you turn on the four-wheel drive, it lights up. I've already tested it works. All you got to do is take the power wire from wherever it connects to your hubs and just hook it straight up to that. Now, if you have the oil container, I definitely recommend keeping it. But like I said, not too bad. It makes about 40 horsepower, which is a lot more than the Yamaha made. Yamaha was a manual transmission as well. But like I said, not too bad. I like it, but it's gonna take a little bit of work. From the front real quick and actually end the video. So those are the original headlights. Like I said, I'm just gonna put a high beam on. Then there'll be a light bar right there, and then there'll be a winch right under it. There'll probably be another video working on this. There will probably be some videos of riding it once I do get some stuff done. Because like I said, it does run. You saw a clip. Transmission does work. Although I want to change the fluids. Four-wheel drive does work. It's just, basically, I'm trying to go through everything, make sure everything's good before I have problems with something that I didn't fix. You see what I'm saying? Because our Yamaha had a lot of problems, and I don't want this to be another Yamaha. And I'm not saying that newer Yamahas I don't know what that was. Almost sounded like maybe a dog. I don't know. Anyway, newer Yamahas might be okay. They might be even good. For real, newer Yamahas are probably good, but that Timberwolf was a piece of junk. And I would almost say ours was a piece of junk, but the guy that we bought this from, he said that he had one. He said it didn't last him very long either. So I think it was just the Timberwolves were not good. Now, like I said, newer Yamahas may be good, but that one was not. So, and generally speaking, I don't like newer Polarises, but this one was kind of cheap, and I did a little bit of research on it. And from what I heard, you know, this was a good Polaris. This was before they started making pieces of junk, as one guy put it. Because let's be honest, some of the new Polarises don't do so well. I've seen a couple of side-by-sides on fire. I've seen a couple of Sportsmans and high lifters kind of blown up. May partly be due to the people riding them, I will say that, but still, I would rather not buy something that's $10,000 and then have it break. This was $1,500. Technically, for the most part, it runs. I'm just taking forever to get anything done on it. Partly because it's hot, although it is cooling off now. Also, I realize that it's reflecting, but sorry. Anyway, I mean, like I said, there'll be some more videos on this. There'll probably be some riding videos.